Welcome out to Trade Masters, presented by Tackle Trading. This is Coach Matt here with Coach Frank to have another excellent, amazing Trade Masters where two coaches, well, typically just me and Coach Frank, two coaches
Go
go head
coaches.
to head 2 rounds. It's not really a competition, but we like to have it that way. And in today's rounds, we got two exciting rounds. One is on breakouts, the other one's on pullbacks. We're going to talk about them here in just 1 second. As you do come in, we're going to bring the fire today. So hit that like and share and help us spread the good word of tackle trading out there to the
Yes,
masses.
sir.
No doubt about that. And while I have you, before we get too involved here today, we do have the September edition of Master Trader coming up here in just 11 days on the 15th and 16th this week, this month. It's going to be 2 days hardcore technical analysis, Frankie. Day
Ooh.
one, going to go through the basics. Day two, we're going to get into the nitty gritty of how to read those charts like a pro. Fantastic. We're also doing a day trading mini class in the coaches show. Frank, I started with a 2 week class. Now it's a 4 week class.
It
By the
went to
time I get
three,
done,
then it
it
went to
might be an
four.
8 week class. Like I told the team last night, I said, guys, let's just call a spade a spade. We'll be done when we get done.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
that's the way to do it, right?
Like we'll be done when we're done having the conversation. And so I thought it was awesome. I had a tremendous
Yeah,
amount
great
of
night
fun with
one.
the
People
team.
really enjoyed it. Yeah, good
So
feedback. Yeah, that's going to
you
be
are
a
not a pro member, this is a great month to be a pro member. Learn how to day trade through the coaches show. Come to Master Trader to learn those concrete technical skill sets. And with that said, Coach Frank, how you doing today, my friend?
doing good. Excited to be here with the team, talking a few charts, and yeah, definitely make sure you get over to Tackle Trading. That Master Trader course is awesome. Right. Usually it's night one technical, night two options. Going to go double technical because who doesn't love a good chart? We love some options here at Tackle Trading too. So you'll be able to get your fill there, but it is definitely a course. I always tell people, whether you're brand new or you've been in the game for a little bit, there's always something to learn out of that Master Trader. So excited for that. Excited to be talking a couple charts with you and the team here today.
Yeah, and so let's jump right into it, Frankie. Well, actually, let's take a step back very quickly. I want to take a moment to kind of review last week a little bit.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a
And
good
and
idea.
and I want to do that kind of at the beginning of every Trade Masters, just to kind of remind, people, okay, where were those picks from last week? What are they currently doing? Even the ones that get blown up. We know that, Frankie.
Oh
As
yeah,
traders, things do get blown up
you
every
you
now and
win
then.
some and lose some. That's part of the trading game, right?
But you know what didn't get blown up last week? TJ Maxx on the pullback. That
No,
that,
moving
that
nicely.
didn't get pulled. That didn't get blown up, despite Frankie some bloodbaths in retail last Friday. Here's TJ Maxx holding firm,
Just
absolutely
fighting a
firm,
good fight.
looking absolutely fantastic. You know what didn't get blown up the week before? ABBV, which is setting up in another really good technical setup. Frankie, you know what else didn't get blown up? Your gold stock that you picked, my gold stock that I picked from 2 weeks ago, doing absolutely fantastic. No doubt about that. Got a
Yeah.
couple other things that are kind of ongoing right now. We had CC last week,
Yeah, and
still looking really
it's
good.
the
What's
same
your
thing
thoughts?
today as it was, right? I thought about being lazy and being like, I'll just bring in CC because it's the same setup.
Same
But
setup.
then I'll figure we'll just cheat and say it's the same setup
Well,
and
it's the
move.
same setup, same pattern. You haven't given up an edge here. It still looks really, really
Still
good.
waiting for the break.
I had Citigroup last week, had that unfortunate gap last Friday, but it really didn't like harm the pattern here. It does have to get redialed in, however, in my estimation, because that if you were aggressive on the trigger, you most likely got stopped out on that gap down on Tuesday. It would have been Tuesday. That no trading on Monday. The stock market has thrown
It's
my
weird.
week off the entire.
Always does. It always does for like a week and a half. Even next Monday is not going to feel like Monday. It's going to feel
Yeah,
like Sunday. And Amazon, the fly that we looked at also caught up in that gap here.
yeah,
Uh, but hanging in there,
yeah.
right?
Hanging.
Depending on what you paid for it, if you got in around 60 cents, it's still we still have a couple of weeks, right? To get through that. Obviously, would like to see some upward movement here on them. Just real quick on that EQX from a few weeks ago, Maddie. Probably time to start trailing stop a little more aggressively,
I
I
was
would
thinking
say.
the same thing on gold today, Frankie. On GDX, you're showing a little bit of weakness here today. We had our first legitimate on GC. We had our first legitimate intraday pullback in 6 days. Like,
It
and,
seems like
and,
it's been a
and
while.
intraday pullback, right? But kind of a little bit of a warning sign on the momentum side, starting to shift a little bit, and so maybe be a little bit more aggressive on those stops on the gold stock plays. I certainly do agree with that based on the momentum. But what a great run on that. You know, Frankie, we've had some good picks over the last couple weeks since we restarted Trade Masters 2 weeks ago. I love this show. I hope our team and our community does as well. Let's start
Absolutely.
with round one, Frankie. Let's start with the retracements here on round
Okay,
one. And
retracement round. I
why
like
don't,
it.
why don't you go ahead and go first here, brother?
All right, I'll go first here. And for mine, I'll try to cheat at the end and throw my runner up, but I'm going to go with ADNT. This one is, I think, a little bit interesting because of kind of what its overall story is. This has been a longer term turnaround, right? These guys, like a lot of the auto parts, they struggled, but really over the past 6-ish months, really start trending back the right way. These guys here on ADNT, a couple things that are interesting to me for them specifically, and most of it's going to come from the last 2 days of price action. But before we get into that, it's the zone, right? You're kind of that old resistance level in between that rising 9 and that rising 20, that old bull area, right? You've got momentum going on with the trend. It's very established at this point in time. You're in a giant window, so you don't have any real significant stuff above you, I would argue, until maybe you get into the 28 level. So
That
they're
weekly
still,
trend is starting to cook too.
so it's starting to cook. It just kind of has all the things that I like to look for in in kind of the bigger picture, if you will. And then when you kind of think back to the smaller picture, I mean, if you look at the last 2 trading days, Tuesday, I was going to say Monday too,
I
Tuesday, the high was 24.62, the low was 24.03. Today, the low is 24.03, the high is 24.63. So it's gotten really tight, within a range on the intraday over the past 2 days of trading. So it
what you
feels
want
like
to see on that flag retracement, you want to see that base start to develop at the low point.
it feels good, right? And it
All
and
out
it
on the wicks is spot on. Like
yeah,
that's pretty clean.
yeah, it feels good. It's pleasing to the eyes, right? We still need some upward movement. We kind of got to get through the double top. We want to see this low hold, obviously, but that's only part of the equation. Got to get through the highs to get that confirmation to get in. But what's nice is if we do get through that high, you're kind of taking out that intraday downward trend too. So you kind of get a lot of value for that break of these last 2 days of highs. You're getting a confirmation off of the intraday double bottom, the break of the intraday trend, getting back into the right side of that 9 EMA. And while it's not overly concerning, all things being equal, I'd rather be above it, right? Well, that entry
Actually,
would
the
be
wicks are slightly above that right there too.
exactly. And so if you are aggressive, I think you can kind of look over this little two top, as I would call it. But I also think you could say, let's just get a close above that and then build off of that candle.
Never gonna hate anybody for saying
Never going to hate anybody, because I do believe you have the window for this. I think, and again, it's going to probably depend on the type of trader you are, but ultimately, I do think you can target this to 28. That is more of a position target, probably not a super likely swing target.
Mhm.
But I, more than whether you should or I will or you won't type of thing, it kind of goes to show the window I think that we have to work with. So
That window
if
doesn't close till 30.
yeah, I mean, you've got a little bit around 28, and then you got another run. And again, that's how these turnaround stories happen, right? You just fill one level and then fight through the next, and eventually you're either at new highs or you lose, right? And and we'll see which one this one is. Well, we don't have to get to new highs to be pretty happy here. So aggressively kind of over here today's high by whatever your ATR rule or whatever is. Or just want to be a little bit more conservative. Just let's get that closing candlestick above this 9 EMA or above today's high, which would be both basically, and build off of that. I kind of been thinking, from a swing, I'm kind of thinking around that 26, just that recent high level for T1, and that 28 level as T2
That's the swing.
personally.
Yeah.
But I do think there's I love when there's big windows, right? Because the 28, I mean, that's, five and a half to one risk to reward ratio trade. So I don't need to sniff 28 to have this be a really good trade. If it were to get to 27, it's, almost 4 to 1. I'm not unhappy at all. So I like when I have these big giant windows to go with. And I think they're nice for other traders too, because not everybody targets the way I do, right? They're going to have their own styles. And when you have big windows, it just allows for more people to express their styles.
Yeah.
So give me ADNT. Do need to get a little bit of confirmation here.
Lots of different systems work when you have a pocket and it's a large pocket,
Yes.
swing, day, position. Everybody's a little bit happy in those situations. I really like this pullback here, and I think the number one thing that stands out to me is the positioning in the pullback. There's certain levels in all pullback analysis where you start to get overtly concerned if it gives up that level,
Yeah,
right? And it's kind of at that level where you see it through the go or don't lens.
very much so.
And
Yeah.
and the go or don't lens is basically everything you were talking about, right? Do you get the confirmation? Do you get that move above that above those candle highs and whatnot? But the positioning here is very strong in between the rising 9 and the 20. That's a bull zone right at 24, which is an old pivot point. I really like that positioning because if it falls here and it clips that 20, which obviously stop loss placement is going to be kind of in that zone. Well, Frankie, I don't see it through the retracement lens any longer. You know what I mean? I want to see this as a bullish retracement at 23. I
Yeah.
just
It
see,
would just be see you later,
yeah,
right?
it'd just be
I'll
like,
find you in a scan down the road. So
yeah, exactly. And so I kind of like that go or don't situation. I really like the positioning and it's a clean retracement. That's number one. Now, Frankie, my retracement that I'm going to come up with is not as clean as yours, I would say.
okay.
It's a little bit more of a difficult technical backdrop in my estimation than the ADNT trade. ADNT is just a standard flag retracement down to the principal of polarity, confirmation, go or don't. Like it's a pretty
Yeah,
standard.
very straightforward, right? Nothing
Right?
fancy.
Sentinel is a little bit differently here, Frankie, and Sentinel is going to be my pick on the retracement here. Now, we're basically what we're seeing here from a technical perspective on Sentinel is you basically have a wide range neutrality is what you currently have going on in Sentinel. You got the lowest low point of the base right around that 1575 level, and when you look at the tippity top here, you're kind of talking the 200-day moving average on the tippity top of the range because the 200-day moving average just so happens to coincide with three different major pivots in this range. And so
That'll catch your eye.
it really does. Like it's the 200 because it's always the 200, but when that coincides with those major pivots, it's kind of like an easy targeting conversation. What I like about Sentinel is this is a secondary setup following a positive earnings response.
Right.
And in that positive earnings response, knowing earnings the way I do, I don't think you would have wanted to see this drive up in a momentum condition against the backdrop of all those different data points. I like the secondary development here. I don't mind the gap fill, and I don't mind the momentum shifting right around that 9 EMA.
Right. Yeah.
And so I see this as a neutral situation. But as I was teaching the day trading class last night for the coaches show at Tackle for our pro members, I talked about one very important concept in the backdrop of neutrality. And in the backdrop of neutrality is a tremendous amount of conversations on continuation analysis versus reversal analysis. You really don't know who's winning that ultimate battle between continuation and reversal until you start seeing pivots occur.
Yeah.
And if you see an increase in pivot against the backdrop of neutrality, that is an increase in support level, which is the kind of the beginning point of the birth of a trend. The birth of a trend is on a breakout. That a breakout is the birth point of a trend, but there's always an epicenter for where that all starts, right?
Right.
And to me, that epicenter could be here. If I was a little bit more aggressive, I would say so. But to me, this is a really good technical backdrop if you're looking at Sentinel-1 because it's either this or it's wait a long time before it redials in at that ultimate high, Frankie.
Yeah,
Because I don't think you have the same opinion if you're breaking out a 19 thinking you can just get a dollar up to 20. I don't
probably
think,
not.
I just don't think there's too much chop over here. But on the pullback gap fill, it's got a very, very good story to tell. You had a positive response to earnings. Now, the earnings analysis on Sentinel was mixed. You had a miss on EPS slight, but you had a good beat by 22% on the revenue year over year. And you also had a slight uptick on forward-looking guidance, which was the justification of the gap out. Now, the market had something to do with the pullback, obviously. That pullback filled the gap down to the rising 9 EMA. That's a pretty good little flag-based pattern. Now it's post earnings, so you're going to deal with volatility, right? It's not you're
Yeah,
not going to get that clean like you did on ADNT. That's a clean flag. That's a clean pullback. This is a little bit volatile. This is a little bit dirty, but you get what you pay for when you're dealing with earnings. And so I just got, but you also this is kind of where you got the best reward to risk ratio as well. So you got
yeah.
a
Risk
good
to reward
balance.
is really nice here. Yeah,
Yeah, it is. And so from a set method perspective, Frankie, I just kind of like entry above the high, stop loss underneath the base of the low point of the last 2 days. Kind of the same thing on that ADNT where you had that double bottom on the intraday side of
yep,
the equation that was fairly consistent. Well, even in this volatility we've seen in Sentinel yesterday specifically,
yeah. Been very consistent on the intraday.
look at that low point. Look at that low point. Right? Very consistent at that low point. That's the stop loss placement in my estimation. So entry above the high, stop loss underneath the low. And the 9 EMA obviously is going to play a role here, but the 9 EMA is above that level tomorrow. And
Yeah,
so
it'll catch up real quick.
it catches up really, really quickly here. Now, targeting, I think you just simply say, I'm going to target 19 by the 200 here. Like, I
Yeah,
just
like
think it's as simple as
1920,
that.
right? I know it's kind of a little higher than both of those
Yeah.
numbers, but yeah, that's kind of where my brain went is, oh,
Okay,
this is
kind of the top level here on the earnings gap right there. 1920, you convinced me. 1920 is good with me as well. And then you got that 200 there with all these pivots, and that zone is anywhere between 20 and really kind of 2030 at this point. So I
yeah,
just say 20, right?
yeah,
So target wise, entry above the high, stop underneath the base of the low point the last 2 days, targeting 19 on the previous pivot by 20, which is the cluster of all very, very important resistance zones. And what my hope here, Frankie, is this trade works out so that we can talk about something longer term at that 200-day moving
yeah,
average.
dialing in because
That
that would be an interesting conversation to have, right?
uh, pos- uh, can could I sign you up for a position trade analysis after that 50 weekly converges to the breakout channel?
Yeah, I think you probably
I,
can,
I
right?
think
Like
as well.
that'll catch your eye. And the beautiful thing about this is that's great if that happens, but it doesn't need to happen. I mean, you are basically a 2.5 to dollars for every dollar you're risking, just back up to where it was 3 trading sessions ago, right? If it gets
Yeah.
anywhere near that 200-day moving average, you're talking about a 5-to-1 trade. And we talk about it a lot, but when it comes to trading, you're wrong sometimes, right? And sometimes is when you trade a long time, it's a lot of times.
Yeah.
So we got to get paid when we're right. Yeah, we're right a lot too, right? And so when you get these really strong risk to reward ratios, does this I mean, I like think about it like this, Maddie. History would say that regardless of your nice analysis there, just recent history of the stock would say it's going to go
It's
back
going
up
to
to
the
around 20 and then it's going to drop back down to about
that's
15.
yeah, that's what Sentinel's behaviorals
Like
do is it goes
that's
from the low to the
what
high to the
yeah,
low.
that's just what it
It
does. And
right.
so
Yeah.
getting here in where you're at, right? All it has to do is kind of just do what it's been doing, right? I'm a
I
pretty
like
simple guy, right?
I like
Things
All
do
right,
what they've
team.
been doing.
That's round one. We got two pullbacks. Sentinel one, the aggressive front run pullback post earnings against the backdrop of neutrality. And then you have the AD&T pullback, which is more of just a standardized swing trade. Frankie, why don't you vote first? Oh, and by the way, team, if you're watching on the recording later on tonight, which I know a lot of our community does, put your answer in the comments so we can
Yeah,
check it out. We want
yeah.
to
Let's see what
like to see. We'd like to
we
see
do.
put that answer in the comment. What would you choose, Frankie?
Ooh, that is tough. That is tough. because I like them both. And usually when I like things both, I can kind of go to, okay, well, which one gives me the best risk to reward? Right. But they both kind of have about the same, like in my head, low hanging fruit is pretty easy to get to 2 to 1, easy in quotation marks, right? And, extended target, really, so I can't even go to my usual, okay, well, this one has better risk to reward ratio. So I'll stick with ADNT just simply because it's mine. And so I'll stick with them, but I do like them both. And I think they are both actionable if we get our confirmation,
Um,
over these highs.
I like them both as well, but I'm a sucker for clean analysis, and I do think the AD&T trade is a very clean trade. I think the front running on Sentinel is an aggressive trade that, if worked out, could be one of those ones you're like, oh, that's a great trade,
Yeah.
and quickly forgotten if it doesn't. AD&T is a little bit more of a standard swing trade, a little bit more of a clean pullback. You got to like the positioning on the chart. The zone, like in my estimation, a little bit of a better overall story, I would say, on AD&T from a technical perspective. So I'll as well go with AD&T, but I do like that Sentinel front run. I just think it's more aggressive more than anything, and you're coming from the lower point, and you're front running reversal, so it's a little bit more of a
Yeah.
complicated backdrop. But I will
But once
say,
upon a time, AD&T was in the same situation, right? And now
uh,
you're just a little bit further along.
yeah, and then they had a beautiful reversal and a beautiful breakout.
Yeah,
Like,
it was pretty nice. Right.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, Frankie, let's go on to round two here.
We got the breakout
AD&T,
round.
AD&T got the popularity for round one from both you and I. I'm willing to bet most of the
Looks like the
team
team was there. Yeah, it looks like that was the general thought
I
process.
would say so. Um, oh yeah, Linda, like I like the Sentinel, but like I think
Yeah.
we're all a sucker for a clean
I,
setup.
I mean, ideally, when you're having this, asking this question, it's a tough one to answer, right? Because
We're
they're
not
both
bringing in one
compelling.
good trade versus one bad trade.
Try
There's
to trick you,
a
try to
much
trick you.
more
One of these is,
involved. And the thing about trains, we can take a little bit of the both, but
yeah,
I do like
exactly.
forcing the answer on which one. On which one. All right, Frankie, we did pullbacks round one. Let's go breakouts round two. I know you're thinking on the bull side. I'm thinking on the bear side on a potential breakdown. So
Ooh,
breakout versus breakdown here. What's your thoughts? You want to go first? You want me to?
I'm going to make you because
Uh,
I don't want to end the show on a breakdown. So I'm going to make you go first so we can end it on a breakout.
that is accurate. Yes, yes, yes. We give bears a moment. We don't give bears more than that.
Yes, that is
Um,
accurate.
But let's mine. It was on the traders report this previous weekend for the pro members. And if you're not a pro member, great time to become one. Sign up for a free trial. You can hit the link in the description below. But on here, I just felt kind of stood out from an overall quality setup here, Frankie.
It's
I
clean.
was gonna pick something else for Trade Masters. I want to show it to you. But this is why you're a pro member, and this is why you read the traders report every single week, because you get quality setups like the Chime Financial that broke support off a very clean violation. And this puppy probably doesn't end till about $20 here, Frankie. So if
Yeah,
you're looking for the best setups, you love Trade Masters, and you're looking for high quality technical setups every single week to dial in your active trading, the traders report is for you. No doubt
for
about that.
sure.
Coach Frank, Coach Greg does a wonderful job in curating the traders report every single week. Frank, I'm going to go back to ONON here, and similar to CHYM, just a clean setup here. More than anything, just
Yeah,
a
super
very,
clean.
very clean setup that spells breakdown here. And it goes without saying, anything above 44, that's not a breakdown, ladies and gentlemen. It's got to get underneath that 44 level, and dealer's choice on confirmation, but it has to get underneath 44 here. What I like about the setup here is I got this as a descending triangle here, Frankie,
Hmm.
putting a tremendous amount of pressure on that support level. Now, support is designed to hold. We've seen support hold throughout the last couple weeks. Support is supposed to hold. So when support doesn't hold, what do we typically get? Momentum, right? You saw it yesterday on the ES. We saw one
Yep.
intraday support level break, and what happened? It immediately went down to the next support level, and we started having a vastly different conversation.
Yep.
When support breaks, the rule of thumb is it goes to the next support level. Now, that next support level here, Frank, on a break in 44, and it opens up a little bit, and I do like that. You really don't
Yeah.
see any support here at all until you start working till about 37. And you start getting into some support at 37. Now, for me, that's not the target one on a swing trade here. That's not how it gets down. But I do think a legitimate target of using the significant whole number in T1 at 40, targeting T2 at the 37 level. I think it's aggressive, but I like it. Entry underneath 44, whether you who you are. If it's a clean entry, you can go aggressive underneath 44. If you need confirmation, I don't think this market is this market hasn't had a momentum condition in 2.5, 3 months, Frankie.
Yeah,
I think confirmation is okay. I think waiting on confirmation is okay. But if you want to be aggressive, it is clean there.
it really
44 is the
is.
number on the support break, targeting kind of that T140. And even if you get 40 here, that's a great trade. Like, even if you get 40,
Oh,
that's
you'd be very
fantastic.
happy. Yeah.
Stop loss just above the 44 breakout channel. Like, I don't care. Get the 9 EMA at 45. That's perfectly fine. Entry underneath 44. Stop above 45. Targeting 40. Ultimately 37. What's your thoughts here on hold
Yeah.
on.
Like I'm not a, it's hard out there for a bear is a saying I throw around a lot. But this is a good bear, right? I mean, that is a really clean
Listen,
support level.
got to be clean on the bear side, doesn't it?
It really does. And this one is really clean, right? And when I look at this, I think if that support goes, like I think the story is 37 or approximately. So
Ultimately, yeah.
uh, and so anything in between there is I certainly understand that, for a day by day type of management, maybe that isn't going to happen, but I
Yeah,
love
it
the
would take a
window.
couple weeks for that, but it's a good
Yeah.
window to
It's a
see what the
great window.
window's doing.
Yeah. If I'm going to
All
vote
right,
for a
brother.
bear, this is one I would vote for.
All
That
righty.
is for sure.
Well, it's going to be the only bear on Trademaster, so it is going to get the bear pick of the week for Trademasters.
So if
One of
nothing else, it gets that, right? If
what a
nothing else, it wins the bear
well,
pick.
the Bears get to win something every now and then.
That is true. Well, I mean, and I mean, I don't really like bears, but that doesn't mean they're not important. It's not important to have them on your radar and in your
We might
watch
not
list
love the Bears,
because,
but we will trade Bears.
yes, exactly, exactly. I prefer to trade bullish.
I
Call me
do
old fashioned,
prefer to trade
but
both.
sometimes the bear is. Well, sometimes you got to poke the bear, right? That's a good one to poke.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think it's clean. I think it's a good one.
yeah,
What's
very
your
very
thought on the
clean.
breakout?
On the breakout side, to clean this up a little bit, not that it's a dirty bear, but it is a bear. I'm going to go with MLCO. And I'm going to go with a breakout here. I was going to go with somebody else, but they just kind of, not that I'm complaining, but they just kind of got going crazy. These guys really did, and these guys just have a really nice little high base that's developed after this really nice run. So they broke out and last Friday, they're on the 22nd, right? Had a really nice run on the breakout, moved about the same range as the consolidation range, depending on where your lines are there, but approximately moved about that range. And now we're just kind of dialing in this secondary high base type of pattern. It checks all of the boxes on a multiple time frame. You don't have anything that's scary on a monthly. You don't have any scary on a weekly. You do have a little bit of junk, but I think this one's pretty straightforward. They've been much higher, right? I think this one's pretty straightforward though. You just kind of walk up the stairs and you kind of look at 11 for your first target and 12 for your second target. Or if
Honestly,
you,
it's breaking some pretty important
it
levels.
is, it's really winning some very important
Those
fights.
are those are major pivots of days
And
gone by.
yeah, and coming off of a structural
Well, and
support level,
$10 is a significant one of the end all
like
be alls.
mental, yeah, 10 is yes.
It's
Like,
a
if you
psychological.
believe in psychological numbers at all, then 10 is,
I certainly do. I
like,
see too
as
much.
do I, as do I. 10's definitely
Go
on the
day trade
list.
the ES for 2 weeks. You'll have some belief
You'll
system.
start to have some, yes, you will absolutely do so. I like targeting this 11 by 12, but as you saw looking longer term, you can play a little bit different. If you wanted to target 11 for your second target, the way I'm going to, talk about building the entry and stop, you're going to be fine risk to reward, if well over 2 to 1 on the threshold. I like kind of looking at 11 by 12, kind of at 11. We'll kind of see where momentum
Yeah,
takes us,
I
right?
like that. Like let's see at 11 and let's see what the momentum looks like at 11.
Yeah. But you can't say, Frank, that can't happen. No, it can. We
It
were,
just
you know,
happened.
It
It
just barely
literally just
happened, right? So
right
it,
here, and it
it
happened right there. Like, yeah.
exactly, I know, and that's one thing I love about these lower price stocks, right?
Oh, you do
It's one thing
love
that I really
you
like
love
about
low quality
EQX
stock.
is it's hard to get a stock to ask it to go up 10, 15, 20% that's at $143, right? It's possible, but it's a tall ask on these smaller dollar stocks. It's a little easier to get that 20%, at least more, maybe not easier, but likely, right, to do so. Uh, I like going just over the high here. Think nothing fancy over the high. I like the stop loss under yesterday's low.
So just
Much
play the
like
base.
basically play the base, much like Sentinel One. That 9 EMA will realistically catch up tomorrow, if not tomorrow on Friday. So you'll have that working for you. Look into that 11 as T1, and then let's kind of see where it goes, right? Officially, I would say 11 by 12, but I would kind of say at 11, we'll just kind of let momentum take over. And if it, stalls out at 11:27, cool. Right. If
Yeah.
it's got more than 12, even cooler. But I don't think this one's got to be tricky or tough or anything. I think we just play the momentum on top of the momentum and see where it wants to take us.
Yeah, I agree. I think with the current pattern here, Frankie, a high base with the 90 you made right underneath, you just play the base, meaning entry above the above the base, stop underneath the base, targeting 11, pretty simple setup. Um, that's what I like about, honestly, that's what I love about your charts, Frankie. You love clean setups. I
Yeah,
love clean setups.
just like
Sucker.
I don't want to be complicated. I'm a simple dude. I
The
need simple
cleanest
things.
number might be the on 44 break.
It's
That
very clean.
that's a
Yeah,
clean one.
it is very clean.
The only dirty one I would suggest was Sentinel because it was front running against wide range.
Well, it's just volatile, right? It's just a little different situation. It's volatile because it's coming out of earnings.
Oh,
You're
it's
in
two
the
days
middle
left.
of the range, but you're on the right side of the conversation, right?
Mhm.
Based off of its history and based off the current momentum, we are putting in higher highs and higher lows. And so I mean, yes, I would say it is the dirtiest of today's conversation, but that doesn't mean I think it's dirty, right?
Oh no, no,
Uh,
no. We wouldn't have brought it to the conversation. It was dirty. Like dirty subjective, right?
yes,
And,
that is
and
very true.
like sometimes a little dirty is okay because that means volatility.
Yeah, yeah,
But
there's nothing wrong with
Frankie,
that.
as always, really enjoy the conversation. Round two, what was your favorite? Actually, you went first last time. I'll go first this time.
You got to vote first.
Mm, Yeah, I'm gonna go with the bear trade. I'm gonna stay on the bear trade. I think the bear trade is very clean underneath 44. It was on our traders reports. And so I'm gonna stay true to the on trade.
I respect that. I respect that, and I do like that setup. But I can't like a clean bear over a clean bull. It's just
I
not.
don't blame you.
It's just not where my head's at. It's just not who I am. I do like on, and the thing that's cool about these type of bears is a lot of times if they do break, there's kind of that quick volatility. Think about Chime, right? Very easily yesterday after that first move was able to get my stop loss to break even,
Yeah,
which to me is really important on bears because that's just my experience with them,
mentally.
right?
Yeah.
And so just a little bit of downward movement can get you, and it's harder a lot of times to come up with good quality bear delta than bull delta. But with all of that said, I'm still sticking with the breakout on MLCO. I can't you can't get me to change my mind on the
I did
bear.
not think you were going to shift to the bear. No, I know my buddy Coach Frank, and it was not going to be easy on getting Coach Frank on any bear. There's no doubt about that. Team, as always, let us know what you think of the picks here in the comments section. And if you love Trade Masters, as always, we love you. Give us a nice little like and share. Tell somebody about the good message of Trade Masters. And with that said, last thoughts here, Frankie. I'll let you go. Last thoughts, and then I'll finish up.
Yeah. I mean, there's always something out there, right? No matter what's going on in the world around you, there's always some good quality charts that you can build good quality trades on. Sometimes you have to look harder than others, but you can also just make us look harder for you, whether it's here in Trade Masters, each weekend in our traders report. We talk a lot about charts throughout the week in our Discord channel. So if you are looking for a home as a trader, want to be around other traders who take this stuff serious, have some fun, but work hard. I don't think you're going to find a better community out there than tackle trading. What do you got to lose? You can't beat free, right? Sign up for that free 15-day trial, get access, see what it's all about. Come hang out with the community, get in there and jump into like probably 7 hours of technical analysis with Maddie and the master trader. Get in there and dial in your skill set in
It
the
ain't gonna be
coaches
fun
show.
this month.
No, it's not going to be boring. There's going to be a lot to learn.
I think last month, Frankie, night one on technical analysis, at about 3.5 hours, I was like, are you guys okay? They're like, keep going, keep going. I'm like, I think I'm tired. Like,
That's how it goes, right? That
yeah,
is how it
I was
goes.
tired. It was an awesome master trader this
Oh,
past.
yeah,
We
yeah.
had
And this one will be awesome too. They're all awesome, right? I mean, you've done this a long time. You've taught this stuff. You know your stuff. But what's so cool about the master trader is you can always take it and apply it to the now, right? And that's what I think people really appreciate in that master trader, because a lot of us have seen it multiple times, and
it's always a
yeah,
little
it's
different
kind
every
of the
time.
same, but it's also always new, right?
Well, it's
Because
because I'm going to teach the concepts from live market analysis.
exactly,
So
right?
if we're dealing
And
with
I
the
think that's super valuable, right?
Frankie,
Because
I usually focus on retracements. If we're focusing on breakout analysis, I'm going to do more on breakouts. Last month I did Elliott wave theory and ABC cycle because I have us at late stage trend development, and quite frankly, we've kind of seen ABC cycle play out a little bit. Um, Still in the process of that, mind you. But yeah, that's my last thoughts as well, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not a pro member of Tackle Trading, you can hit either the Master Trader link in the description below or the sign up for pro membership, and you can get a free trial of the pro membership to Tackle Trading. Get access to the coaches shows where I'm doing on the day trading this month. Get access to Master Trader this month. Come hang out with us every day in the Traders Lounge in our Discord channel. Get access to the Step channel to hang out with the amazing traders of tackle trading. It's a beautiful community. We love the tackle trading community, and what makes the tackle trading community special, quite frankly, is the community members. They are the best ever. I know I speak for you. I love just
100%.
hanging out with them
Oh
every
yeah,
single day,
and my friends, right?
shop, talking about the markets, talking about trades. It's an amazing thing, and we invite you to come be a member of that of the tackle trading community, and we look forward to working with you on a day in day out basis as well. So if you are new to tackle trading, we go live in YouTube every Monday in the Trading Justice podcast. We go live every Wednesday in Trade Masters. And if that's not enough for you, we are live every single day with our pro member community for, quite frankly, hours every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And love every minute of it. So come on over and join the best community out there. Maddie, my friend, it was fun. We'll do it again here next week. Hope everybody has a great week, both in and out of the markets. And we'll talk to you on Wednesday, if not sooner, depending on where you're at. So
Later, team.
bye, team.